And your final speaker, code 347. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of purpose.
When my family first moved here from Vietnam, one of our main goals was to be a featured family on HGTV. That did not work out. So we decided to become American citizens instead. With 7 years to prepare for the test, I had to learn all the details about how the government does or doesn't work. And I had an indispensable tool. Schoolhouse Rock. From the classic, I'm Just a Bill, to the preamble song, We the People, in order to form a more perfect you. Learning songs, dates, and people were actually pretty easy for me. But one of the most confusing parts included memorizing the 3 inalienable rights promised to every American citizen: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, life and liberty seemed pretty self-explanatory to me, but the pursuit of happiness seemed uniquely American. Growing up in my family, happiness wasn't a word or concept that we were encouraged to pursue, and I'm still trying to make sense of it. And it seems like I am not the only one. Acclaimed British journalist and filmmaker Ruth Whitman, in her 2016 book, America the Anxious, How Our Pursuit of Happiness is Creating a Nation of Nervous Wrecks, states that despite the fact that happiness is a multi-billion-dollar industry, the US is still one of the least content countries in the world. Our pursuit of happiness does not lead to satisfaction or fulfillment. And it is time that we replace that goal with a more meaningful one: to live lives of purpose. You see, a happy life is an easy life, one in which we feel good and we experience little stress and worries. In contrast, living a life of purpose is focused on a higher goal with deep values, and we live for what matters most. So let's establish how the pursuit of happiness actually leads to unhappiness, and discover how we can all rewrite our Declaration of Independence to include the pursuit of purpose. Today, happiness is ever present in our cultural conversation. In fact, we can even hear it in the music we listen to. Don't worry, be happy. Or even taste it in our food. Happy Meals. Oh, I know, you still order them. We all want to be happy. But is all this effort and investment paying off? Are we getting happier? Clearly not. Because according to a series of studies done at UC Berkeley by Dr. Iris Moss, the more actively people pursue happiness, the less happy they become. She wanted to know why. In her latest studies, she confirmed that it was this focus on the self instead of others that led to feelings of isolation and loneliness. And this has detrimental impacts. The National Center for Health Statistics reported that the suicide rate in the US increased by 24% from 1999 to 2016. After an alarming pattern of celebrity suicide deaths. Our world's heart is breaking, and we are left to wonder, why? Professor Shigehiro Oishi and Ed Diener at the University of Virginia shed some light on this issue. From a sample of 140,000 people with depression across 132 different countries, they found that it wasn't happiness or unhappiness that predicted suicide. The variable that did predict was meaning. Those who felt that their lives had meaning and purpose did not take their own lives. A study done at Florida State University by psychologist Roy Baumeister found that a happy life is linked to selfish behaviors, being a taker. In contrast, living a life of meaning is linked to being a giver. And it resulted in a boost of psychological health in the long run. It is through moving the focus from self to others that we can truly find meaning. And my life has been impacted by someone who did just this. About 49 years ago, during the bloody period of the Vietnam War, a group of misguided American soldiers were killing unarmed Vietnamese civilians, thinking that they were communist spies from North Vietnam, in what is now known as the My Lai massacre, perhaps the most shocking period of the war. In the midst of all this chaos, a woman hid a child who she did not know in her closet, so the child would not be discovered by the soldiers. The closet only had enough space for one person. The woman was killed, but the child was saved. This child is one of the only survivors left after the My Lai massacre. This child is my mother. If that courageous woman had not made the choice to be a giver, my mother would not be here today. I would not be here today. Now, I understand that we can't all sacrifice our lives for the sake of others. But the need to seek purpose isn't just relevant for those who have suffered through tragedies. It's relevant for everyone. As high school students preparing for the future, we're often given advice such as, choose a job that will make you happy. Find your passion. It sounds like great advice, but how do we know what is going to make us happy? So I suggest that we follow the lead of the Career Counseling Department at Augsburg University in Minneapolis. They don't talk about finding your passion. Students at Augsburg are counseled to seek work that is worthy of respect with a reward bigger than a paycheck. In fact, they have renamed the Career Counseling Department Center for Meaningful Work. And whether in work or in life, the pursuit of purpose is truly a fulfilling quest. Meaning is finding the why to our what. And we can all find our why. Our why might be a world-changing aspiration, such as the case with Lionel Messi, world-famous soccer star who's participating in the World Cup this week. His purpose is to surpass nationalities and borders, and to use soccer to unite countries. Or the students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, who have formed the hashtag Never Again movement. Their purpose: to end gun violence. We can live lives of purpose every day, and it doesn't need to be a monumental mission. Like my mother, who has sacrificed temporary happiness by working 3 jobs just so her 5 kids could have good lives. Like educators, who despite having bad days, months, or even years of teaching and coaching, still work long hours and do whatever it takes to help their students reach their full potential. And all of us in here who can make sure that our words do matter. Just imagine a world where each and every single one of us is moved by a higher purpose. So let's declare our independence and rename the 3 inalienable rights as life, liberty, and the pursuit of purpose.